Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Brian Weiland with the Behavioral Health Clinic, looking to talk to you a little bit about grief. So I've personally become very much acquainted with this idea in the last few months. My father passed away in January from a car accident actually, and you know, I think it's kind of interesting because even though mental health professionals get very good at helping other people work through this, we have our own processes to work through. And so I've been kind of doing a lot of reading and trying to understand more about the process of grief, you know, in order to cope with it myself. And so I thought I'd share with you something that I found very comforting here. So this model of understanding grief a little bit is known as the fried egg model. It's not something I came up with, but it's, like I said, something that I found that has brought me some comfort. So if you imagine this as your life, and when grief strikes, it consumes you. The shaded area represents your grief. It sort of just takes over every waking moment. From when you wake up in the morning, you go to bed at night, you're thinking about it. Even, you know, it comes into your dreams and things like that. So it just sort of consumes you. So the thought is that over time, you know, you might hear people say something like, well, you know, time heals. You'll get over it. You know, you just need to move on. And you might think that this circle is supposed to get smaller so that the grief, you know, doesn't affect you as much, when, you know, maybe there's a different way of thinking about it. Maybe instead of the circle getting smaller, maybe instead what happens is you build a life outside of the grief, and then this circle gets bigger. Over time, as a person has more and more experiences, the grief represents a smaller part of themselves. It never goes away. It's always there. You never forget about it. You know, somebody can bring up a topic that sort of puts you right back in that painful spot, or you hear a specific song, or you smell some flowers or something like that, puts you right back into that spot. So there's kind of some comfort in that, knowing that maybe this idea that the grief never goes away, you don't ever forget about that. But there's always some comfort in, but there's also some comfort in the fact that as life goes by, the grief becomes less dominant. And so then the person begins to experience more joy in their life because the grief takes up less of a spot in their mind. So I hope you found that helpful, and everybody's a little bit different as to how they handle grief and the grief process, but like I said, I hope you found that helpful, and I hope that you find healing on your own journey. Thank you.